Good afternoon, everyone. How's it going? Welcome to another Warbound Devstream. Very chill one today. As you'll have seen if you saw our Discord announcement, we're launching a new website today, which is exciting. I think the plan is for that to go out fairly soon after this Devstream, which is why we're going to be cutting it at sort of 6-ish, so that we've got enough time for the drive release to make sure there's no issues. And sort of, make sure everything's stable before we go to bed. How's everyone doing? It's, the weather's turned here in London, so I'm looking outside just past the camera. We've got a little bit of blue peeking through, which is nice. Nice little mood boost on a Saturday afternoon. So today we're gonna, like the title says and stuff, we're gonna be sort of continuing on with Loadouts. We had a bit of a technical architecture discussion as a team after the last stream, and I think the general consensus is that we need something to pass through. So today we're gonna sort of go through. I've got a little technical document that we drew just on my other monitor here, and we're gonna make like an item configuration, a weapon configuration class. And that's then going to get passed through. So the first thing I'm doing here is I'm just going to sort of get started and modify the loadout handler, which we started last stream, to take that new class. So because currently we're doing loadouts, it's just an array of these Warbound inventory item definitions. So we're just going to sort of make a struct, and the struct is going to have I'm too used to TypeScript now. I'm forgetting to put semicolons at the end of my my declarations. But and then this can now no longer has to be this, and this can be array of F loadout item. And then this can also be array of F loadout item. And that's going to complain because I assume this needs to be blueprint type. You happy now? Yeah, now it's happy. And this also then needs to be a T array of F loadout item. And this is gonna get upset, I think, because this needs to be updated. So we're just updating all the function signatures. Cool. And then F loadout item then gives us the space here to add any loadout, any item specific configuration, skins, visual modifications, weapon modifications, etc. So architecturally it's fairly, straightforward. The idea is just that currently if I can remember, why's my loadout header over here? And let's move that across. You should be next to your friend. So when we actually go to spawn the weapon, which passes through here, we previously, up until now, we've been just passing through the class. So there's a T-sub class, which means it's not an instance, which means it doesn't have any instanced data, of course, because it's it's just a class. So the problem there is we can currently run it and just sort of say, you know, here's like the default set of modifications that'll spawn. All the spawning logic like works and handles properly and everything. But the problem there is that we can't change it at runtime from person to person, which sort of defeats the point of a modification system. So I think let's make an item configuration class. What's like a logical place to put this is what I'm thinking of right now. Put an item, Warbound item configuration. That sounds reasonable, I think. Let's add an Unreal class. And we'll call it Warbound item configuration. That can in fact be a U object. That's fine. Let's add that. And then here I suppose I need to have, I need to figure out where we declare this in C++, because we have like a set list of modifications. And I forget if it's the, I think it's the weapon instance that keeps track of all of this. So animations. Recoil. There we go, modifications. So if I, yeah, this is what I want. For now, because as the old adage says, I'm not going to remove code that I don't know what it does. I'm just gonna copy these over because we can override them, right? We can maybe default modifications are like a reasonable feature to have in the engine. Stop modification. Yes, if we go here now. Is it gonna yell at me to, yeah, we're just gonna have to go through. Oh no, modification base is fine, yes. So all of these are technically of type modification base, which is fine. And then I think let's just knock all the like bool checks out because we can just null check these, right? If we don't want a modification, I don't need to like uncheck a boolean. I can just not pass through a modification, you know what I'm saying? Cool. So let's do a, can I even do find and replace the git or the that way? I don't know, and frankly I don't remember the syntax. So let's say currently equipped. Let's say selected. Replace all. Yeah. Okay. Let's. We're gonna have to nuke all the edit conditions. Oh, and I suppose edit condition heights. I miss having something like prettier running. Gotta delete all these spaces myself. All right. So there we have it. That's sort of the basic, I guess, data of our ammunitions, of our modifications. I was reading weapon ammunition modifications. So we have ammunition, muzzle, barrel, firing mechanism, trigger, magazine, grip, sight, and stock. Although in theory, I'm getting a little too far ahead of myself, because really this should be a Warbound weapon configuration. So let's go into weapons and let's make that class. Let's actually move this over. So class name is going to be Warbound weapon configuration, and its parent is going to be Warbound item configuration. Add it to version control. Rearrange these nicely. And then these can go in the weapon configuration. We can toss that out. And update the path. And then, and then in our loadout, we can say T. Do we want it to be a subclass? I think we just want it to be a pointer. So we'll say Warbound item configuration. Item configuration. And we'll do property it so that Unreal's garbage collector takes care of it for us, which saves us having to do some like manual memory management and stuff, I think. Right now, these need to be... Actually, I'm not convinced that I want this to be UObject. Maybe UData asset? Because then we can make like a... Yeah, I guess we can construct a data asset based on the player's choices. Alright, let's do our due diligence and comment this properly. So this is going to be this items configuration, which holds data about modifications and other relevant similar functionality. And then this is the item the player has in their inventory. So the reason we're sort of abstracting this like this is because ideally this system works not just for weapons, which is sort of what we're building it for first, because it's like the obvious use case. We have modifications in the engine already in the game, and you know it's something that we want to have in the in the final game. Excuse me. And it's like sort of a fundamental mechanic that we're aiming to introduce. I'd much rather have modifications as like a customizable thing in the game than to have like skins for guns or whatever. But it's nice to have the architecture thought a little bit beforehand that will let us do that, I think there's also an argument that we might be overcomplicating it from the start, but I do think that we would like to have the ability to give things some sort of additional information that might be different from instance to instance, and so having that set up makes sense, I think. But yeah, so there's this add entry here, which is this item to add, and then this is probably gonna break like fucking every instance of this in the engine, but we're gonna do it. And this is going to be a Warbound item configuration. And then I've got to update it here as well. So Warbound item configuration. Alright, now out of curiosity, I'm just going to run the build. Because, yeah. Okay, well there's one straight away. So we need to make these public. Which is fine. I mean, that's probably how they should have been anyway. And we'll rerun the build. And mostly I'm sort of on the lookout for errors with this function signature, because we've changed it now. So 10 gigs of memory available. Really wish I could buy more RAM. But I can't for some reason. It's very expensive. Anyway, while we wait for this to build, how's everyone's weekend going? Hope your week was alright. The weather sounds pretty good in a lot of places. It's definitely getting better here in good old England as well. Very much enjoying the view out my window right now. It's a nice sort of change of pace from, yeah, like, but it just rained for like a month and a half in this country. So now, you know, seeing the blue sky is a pleasant change of pace. Alright, yep, there's one. So we'll have to pass through some sort of dummy item configuration. And I think this is the nice way to do it, is we'll do it sort of step by step, right? We'll start with just making sure that the function signature works, and then we'll move down the stack to where we actually get to spawn the weapon, and where we actually run our like modification spawn code. And once that's running, then we can start like actually configuring things. And I think we'll finish off hopefully in, you know, about an hour with some more of the UI stuff. We have some beautiful UI set up from last stream already, and so I'd like to iterate on that to add the ability to like pick your modifications. It's a good way to do it because we're doing it sort of incrementally, and there's going to be issues there as well. Like a lot of the other weapons don't have modifications yet. This one only applies to the actual like sniper car 98K. Alright, so this is currently the only C++ implementation of this function. I know for a fact that there's an implementation in Blueprint that will break once we build this. But like for the time being, yeah, I think my camera's frozen. I need to look into why it's doing this, because it's doing this quite a lot. We'll see if it recovers. But it just sort of hangs and then, yeah. Alright, well let's just make a Warbound item configuration. If I restart my camera. Ta-da! I'm very bright. Cool, and we're back. Alright, so let's make a new item configuration. Yes, I'm aware that is create object. You don't get the new keyword, do we? New object. new Warbound item configuration. Can we do that? And then pass it through there. Cool. Alright, now if I rebuild, this should actually like build in. I should flag this with to do trace this back up the stack. Figure out what might needs to be set here. Alright, it's still not happy with me. Set loadout, default loadout. Alright, why is set loadout changed? Alright, because default loadout now needs to be a T-Ray F item, F loadout item. Yeah, because we're setting sort of a default loadout so that this still works in the game, which is defined in the game instance. Alright. That's a build. That's good. It's a good good first step. And then, yeah, let's launch the engine, and I'm sure we'll be greeted by a bunch of blueprint errors. I know for a fact that now we've changed the type, this is going to be problematic, because this does not match this now. It's going to yell at us a little bit, but that's alright. Compilers always be complaining. Almost there. I think one of the things that we really need to do is start looking into some more modifications, because if you've checked out the streams before, you'll know that we've worked on the ZF39 scope for the Car 98K, and that is, I do believe, historical, but it's currently the only modification that we have in the game, and so it's sort of getting a little bit stale to just keep testing with this. And you know, it also means there's large parts of like code logic that we don't touch, so we'll see. I sense a Blender stream in the future, you know, in the near future. Do you want to open Unreal? It's been a little shy. This is true. You'll see that it's building a lot of textures. If you've kept up with the Discord, we have teased vehicles. Now, the vehicle implementation is very early, but yeah, the reason that was taking a little bit longer is because since I last opened up the project, Josh has imported a bunch of vehicles, which are here, I believe. We got some nice like Willys Jeeps, and some like configurable Panzer IIIs, which I guess we're showing off now. I don't actually. Oop. Where's my mouse gone? I forget that I've changed my keyboard layout around. Yeah, I don't actually know how they like work or how to interact with them, but if we're on track with some of the other stuff, we might give them a play. Very cool though. Very excited to have these in. So much of the design still left to do, but if you have thoughts, if you have ideas, if you have anything, Discord like under the Twitch page or something. And yeah, go join us there. We have a whole channel for like suggestions, anything that you think could be cool for the game. We're always listening out, and dare I say we're pretty active in there. So let's reopen what we had open last time, because I sense that this will be relevant. Okay, well, here you go. Here's what I said was gonna happen, right? Because this now needs to be get loadout. Array of loadout item structures. Array of Warbound inventory item definition. Have I screwed this up? Ah no, it's this that's sort of screwed up. So this needs F item. Is this gonna even let me access? It is a blueprint type loadout item. There we go. Just gonna error yes, because this is, we need a for each loop like this. No, I don't want my array element, I want that in there. Yeah, this is the blueprinting that I'm not so confident at. Yeah, if we hook that up there, then this has to connect back to there. I think if we compile it, we'll get rid of some of the error messages at least. If I add initial item, add initial loadout, okay, so I need to go in and change the type of this, because add initial item should be using the new type. So if I go in here, if I look for symbols, yeah, so this is currently taking a Warbound item definition, but I think what we want this to take. Okay, so actually what I've done here is sort of useless, but in fact we've done exactly as my comment has suggested, because we have sort of traced this back up the stack. So this needs to no longer be a T subclass of item to add. This should be a U Warbound, no, sorry, this should be an F item, F loadout item. Loadout item, which again, yeah, we need to go and change this. And then if loadout item does not equal null pointer, and then we can go loadout item dot item. And we no longer have to do a sort of hacky, creating like an empty config for this loadout item. Cool. If I rebuild this now, let's see if I can remember the keyboard shortcut for it. Yes. So if we rebuild this now, it'll change the signature of that blueprint node, which was causing us issues. And we'll be able to, you know, connect it to the inappropriate pointer. Oh yeah, cannot have an exposed pointer to struct. Fair enough. Yeah, and then these need to be just dots. Yeah, I think we need null. Can I just do an if loadout item? Yeah, that makes sense. So why can't I have an exposed pointer to a struct? Let's see, pointer to struct. Cannot have exposed pointer to this type use struct. How do I expose a pointer to struct? That seems like exactly what I'm after. Oh, we can pass by reference. Oh, not that. We do null check then. I've also seen someone use like a struct keyword, but I don't know if that's necessary. Yeah. So let's pass by reference. Alright, I'm just gonna do it that way. Because this should work as far as I understand. But yeah, like I've written in my comment, I'd like to revisit this because there's probably a cleaner way. This is interesting. It's a lot of errors in the cheat component. You can see this is I assume the give item command. So I'm gonna do something really lazy. And say that this is not my problem. And comment that out and come back to it after the stream because that seems really boring to fix. Alright. We're now down to just a couple more errors, and again I'm just gonna comment out this whole block. Should again allow us to build, because that's, yeah, I think I would need to like just construct like a default struct there, and I don't want to fiddle with that right now. Trust, I'm not going to leave it undone. I'll take a look after the stream. I'll keep this stuff open. But that does let us compile, and it does let us have that type changed properly there, so that we can actually pass through our struct and pass it through by reference, so rather than by value. I don't know if I'm being too technical, by the way. Just yell at me in chat if that's like incomprehensible. Alright, let's see. Hopefully that's yeah, I don't know if there's further like structs things that I need to do there. We're gonna go game soldier, and then this should now be That's very interesting. Why is my loadout item an output? I'm pretty sure, yeah, this is the loadout item. Does add initial item. Loadout item stack, count, return result. I'm so confused. Why has it decided to put that on the end? I'm somewhat perplexed, I must be honest. Let's, how about this, chat? I'm gonna run a little ad break, because it's coming up anyway, and if I run it now, then, well, I need to run it once before the end of the stream, but if I run it now, I don't need to run it later. And I'll look into this during the ad break. That seems like a reasonable deal to me. So, I will see all of you non-subscribers in 3 minutes. And then those of us who like to stick around can enjoy the joy of trying to understand why struct by reference in output, not input. Let me drag the tab over here. That seems... You can do it in the input, why not the output? Well, this is the exact opposite problem that I'm having. An input parameter that's passed by reference. Alright, well this is upset that, well, or this is suggesting rather that passing by reference is actually not possible, which is maybe why it's putting in the output. Let's, I suppose I'll save. Let's see, if I just yoink my ref out. Let's rebuild. And then maybe that'll fix it. Who knows? I'm somewhat confused about it because I can't pass a pointer. And obviously I can pass a reference in C++, but not in Blueprint, which is where this is being used at the moment. So I'm not sure what the best practice here is, because like ideally I don't want to have to maintain two functions that have different signatures, right? One with a pass by reference for C++ and one with a pass by value for Blueprint. That seems really silly. But maybe pass by value is fine here, because either way, like, it's not going back up the stack, right? I'm not worried about modifying it beyond like the player. And that's like the player will modify it in their loadout handler. Like they're not actually going to modify it, you know, further down the stack. So let's see. The ad break's about to end, and yeah, that seems to have fixed it. Alright, I guess we're passing by value. This might be a fundamental misunderstanding of mine about how structs work. But that's something to research later. Hey, if you're stuck in the ad break, thanks for sticking around. We've sort of figured it out. I'm passing by value now instead of reference. And I'm thinking that maybe there's like a misunderstanding on my part here about how structs work. But cool, that seems to be like broadly fine. And then if we go here, there's the plugin game instance, which has a default loadout. which very interestingly has like no members. Is this because I've forgotten to tick these as blueprint? Yeah, I think I need to go U property, edit defaults only. Yeah, and then I need to make an item configuration as well, for the default at least. Because, like, yeah, we can then, I think, dynamically create item configurations when the player's, like, modifying them themselves. But at least for the time being, yeah. We can just make one in blueprints, and I think that'll pass. I think we can grab a pointer to that, right? Maybe? I don't know, we'll find out. It might also need to be a T-subclassive, but I don't like it being a T-subclassive because you can't modify a T-subclassive. So it sort of has to be a pointer to an instance. Or maybe I'm just tripping. Maybe I'm just spitting shit out my ass. Yeah, okay. We have our item now. So let's say car 98K. And yeah, alright. Item configuration is... Let's go, say, into items, weapons, Germany, car 98K. Now we'll make another... Where do they put data assets again? I swear they're... Yeah, there we go. This is going to be weapon item config. Yeah, Warbound weapon configuration. Select, and this is going to be W weapon config car 98. Okay, default. I can't spell, so we're going to rename this to default. And then here, we can configure our modifications, and it's perfect. So I'm going to put the site modification in here. And in theory, this is now our default loadout for a character, which is a car 98K with the with this item configuration, which configures it to have the ZF39 scope. Now, this isn't going to do anything yet, because, yeah, let's see. Warbound weapon spawner also has, yeah. So add initial item. Previously took, yeah, item to add, which was all right. But I think if we can get a reference to this in here, yeah, let's make a variable that's default loadout item. This can go into Warbound here. And then this can be a configuration. Yeah, this can be a loadout item. And then again in here, we can specify what we've currently configured. Alright, apparently something was locked by another user, presumably Josh, but if I have issues pushing, I'll let him know. But yeah, okay. So this is now going to use a default loaded item. Oop, that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to move this guy here, this guy here. Just gonna do it like that. Alright, if I hit play now, I'm hoping that it's not going to crash. But yeah, we don't have a weapon now, because I presume somewhere in the C++ code it's looking for data that we've now moved elsewhere. So I wonder what happens if I pick up a weapon. Okay, I think now what it's done is, yeah, so this is actually kind of proof of this working a little bit. So you can see there's like a car98k full auto, which isn't meant to spawn like this, but because we've now overridden the default, now it's not pulling the modification data from our weapon configuration, but the weapon by default, where we're currently grabbing modification data from, the weapon currently has the scope set. So it's interesting. So it's pulling the car98k. I assume these will need to have weapon loadout items added that like properly reference the new code. So we've essentially broken quite a many things, but that's okay. For now, let's keep going. So this is now adding the entry. And then, yeah, so this is where we're not using this at all. So item to add. It's being set here. So the item instance is so it's creating a new item instance. It's setting that item instance's definition to item to add. So if we go into the item instance, I believe, this is the part I'm slightly less familiar with, but I believe that this is where we need to add, I'm going to do this kind of in an ugly way. I'm going to make a separate public thing here, so to do review. This one, so implement 1s once implementation is finished. And then we're going to go now we're going to say Warbound configuration include item configuration. And yeah, it's going to be U property. So now that that's public, when we over here, we can go new entry dot item instance dot item configuration is item configuration. And now we have an item configuration in new instance item, which is that the result is this instanced item. And if I'm not wrong, so we had, yes, the Warbound weapon instance is a child of U Warbound item instance. This is where it gets quite clever. So now, yeah, so update weapon data based on attachments, I believe, is where we do all of our logic. So this is, yeah, I believe so. Update weapon based on attachments is then where we actually do all our spawning. Yeah, so spawn additional skeletal mesh. And yeah, for example, this is where we set up our scope modification if it's a scope. So I think what we need to do here is basically just in here. Let's say modifier. Yeah, so this is item configuration. Item configuration is item configuration. Yeah, so our item instance declares our item configuration. It's public in Warbound inventory item instance. Which this is a child of, right? No, it's not. This is inventory item instance. This is item instance. Okay, this sort of it makes this a little more complicated. Where's my find references? Find usages. Warbound inventory item instance. Items. UI. I'm not seeing any like weapon stuff here, which is mildly concerning. It may be that I'm just setting the wrong thing in the inventory component. Right, I've got this a little bit of a mess. Warbound, okay. Is it the fragment that I want? This is where having Josh would be helpful, because this is very much his area. Because yeah, this is clearly not going to work until we get this. It will fail to compile until the parent has an item configuration. Even then, this is a really stupid line of code because it's just declaring the thing as itself. I don't need to apply rename refactoring because this doesn't exist. And this is not used anywhere. But sure. Oh, it wanted to do that. Alright, fine. No, it's not the same symbol. Alright. Well, this does throw a spanner in the works, doesn't it? Okay, so let's go to Warbound item instance. Find usages. Okay, and we were doing our stuff in the inventory component. Oh, I see. So I actually don't need to go a level deeper, I think. So this is the item definition. This is where we add the item definition entry. Warbound item definition. So wait, let me like close like a bunch of these because they're just getting in my way, to be honest. So loadout handler we want. These I can close for now, I think. Cheats I need to fix later, but we'll close for now. And then let's close all of the item instances, the quick bar component. So the weapon instance is where we need to get the data. And that's these are structs. Yes, that's a child of Warbound item instance. So what am I doing in game? Oh yeah, game instance is the default loadout. We can put that away. That's like solved. Inventory component, weapon instance. Okay, weapon instance I want. Inventory component has the add initial item. Does add item add replicated subobject? Okay, that's an engine level. Okay, let's close the inventory component for now. Because all I've modified there, I think, is just that one. And up here, something apparently. Oh yeah, so add entry. Yes, this is where we split it. This is the item class and the item configuration. And yeah, so this is where we're currently handling this, but this goes to the inventory item instance, not the item instance. And I don't know the difference because I didn't write this code. And maybe this is just a skill issue, I think, but wait, the result, if I run this, actually this isn't going to run because of the thing here. So let's, and then rerun. Because I vaguely remember catching in Blueprint, the result of this gets then passed, is it to add entry? No, it's not to add entry, because I'm surprised that compiled, to be honest. Oh, good evening, Pexo. How's it going? It's nice to see you. But yeah, because I vaguely remember that it like passes through the return value, this one, result, to something. Syntax trip, hello. Welcome. How's it going? So yeah, if we go game and soldier. Just finished making an eating dinner and ready to go back to slouching on the couch. Now that is a Saturday plan that I respect. Yes, yeah, so add item to slot. That's what I want to look into, because that's this return value. Although I think, I mean, this is add entry and that's add initial. So let's check add initial. So does inventory list add entry? Okay, so it also creates an item instance. So I'm correct that what I want to be looking for is add item to slot. That last part has been most of my week when I have been at work. Same. Same. I've been trying to get back into running now that I'm not completely sick. But other than that, yeah, well, slouching on the couch running and then trying to get the new website out. That's been my week when I haven't been at work. But yeah, I've now forgotten twice what the function I'm looking for is. Alright, but this is the quick bar. Bro, I have a potato laptop and I'm coding on that, and I asked my dad to buy a monitor for more productivity and he said he will buy me a good spec laptop instead of monitor, but I don't have which option I will choose. Do you have any idea? I will say, laptops tend to cost more than monitors. So, if your choice is between a laptop and a monitor, and like, they are, in the sense of like financial equivalence, the same to you because you're not paying for either of them, I'd probably take the laptop. Yeah, I was actually earlier today I was looking at monitors because I'm looking to change up my setup a little bit. And you can find monitors on used marketplaces. I mean, it depends on where you are in the world, but like here in a reasonable city, like the monitors are like 20 to 40 quid, which is, I don't know, 25 to 50 euros maybe. They're like pretty decent. I think I saw 2 monitors for £40 with a base amount, which is not bad. I've forgotten what I'm doing again. Quick back about it. Yeah, add item to slot. Okay, this isn't too useful to us. I don't think we need to like dig into the quick bar component. Which language are you using to build this? So this is C++. This is, well, a lot of people call it UE++ because it's like very Unreal flavored, but it is C++. And then this is called Blueprints. This is Unreal's like visual scripting language. It's like, yeah, we'll like make functions in C++ and then we can run them here. It's just a little bit faster. It's sort of a good efficiency hack. But yeah, I'm still stuck on how to get to the item instance from here. Because this item instance is a lie. This is in fact an inventory item instance. In fact, I don't like this lie so much. I'm going to rename this to inventory item instance. Sure, I'll add a core redirect. Alright, that makes things a little clearer. Started learning JavaScript. JavaScript is what I use for my day job. Well, technically TypeScript, but it's just JavaScript, but a bit less shit. On instance created. Just use the regular find usages. This is the only usage. Okay. Let's pop into the fragment then. Okay, I guess the fragment is literally just a struct. Interesting. Inventory entry. I don't trust it. Inventory item definition. So somehow from the inventory item definition we have to get to the weapon instance. What if I just search for like Warbound weapon instance? I think actually if I find usages like this, that'll be nice, right? Handles okay, so that's like getting it. Okay, obviously Warbound weapon instance references itself. But how are we like creating the weapon instance is what I'm trying to figure out. Usually I have a Josh who's backseat programming in the chat, but I don't this time. So this is just tick component for weapon state. I'm wondering if this is like one of the like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't say this on Twitch, but Josh tends to interleave blueprints in C++ more than I would do. So Josh be slacking. Josh is probably doing something else much more important than walking my dumb ass through the project. But weapon instance base.usset is what I'm looking for. This is the entire... If I buy a gaming laptop, I'm damn sure I'll be addicted to Valorant. Make games instead. Get addicted to making games. Easy dubs, easy fix. So equipped items. So this is a Warbound item instance. So I think this is what adds it. So when you equip the item, like the inventory item definition, it gets added here, which gets equipped items from the pawn. So BP soldier is going all the way back. That's the wrong thing. So BP Soldier apparently has an equipped items. In fact, it does. Hello? Okay, maybe I need to go to the event graph. Hello? Find references by name all. We're getting close. I hope. I really hope that we're getting close. Alright. Get equipped items. I want to set equipped items. There's a binding? Okay, this is animations. This is what we've looked at. This is, I think it's just referencing this. And these are animation blueprints. Right, then how the Where the fuck is equipped items being set? I mean, we can hook this up now. I did forget to hook this up earlier. So we should actually spawn with a weapon now, which was something that didn't happen before. Yeah, so we're still spawning with the like default stuff that we were spawning with before, because we're not actually factoring our loadout into the weapon stuff yet. What does add initial loadout do? Yeah, so that does the add initial item and add item to slot. Set active slot index. Oh, syntax strip. Sorry, you're asking me where am I from? I made the game. How many years experience? I'm from Slovakia in Eastern Europe, and yeah, it's not just me. This was made by a team where there's a couple of us. But personally, I'm coming up on 10 years of game development, which is a scary number. It's sort of not a very well-defined line, I suppose, but it's getting there. It's getting there. I'm old. How hard is it to find? Let's do another fun reference, just in case. Because you can't set a blueprint property from C++. At least not without some, like, fuck you shit, I think. But all I can see are the get accessors. Like, it's not being set anywhere? Am I, like, tripping, or...? I am tripping. This is where it's being added. So what's it adding? It's adding self. Josh be slacking. Oh, Josh is here. Josh, you can tell me all the idiotic shit I'm doing. So yeah, I am an idiot for not noticing that this is an add unique. So it's just being added to the equipped items here. But so how the fuck is weapon instance base created? I mean, you know, I think if we go to the items, weapons, driven. This is the weapon instance. But is this then just a static asset? Which sort of just makes this the same issue we had before, just like way more complicated. But it's also what spawns the stuff. Okay, let's see what calls this function. Find usages. Oh yeah, so if we do this, that gets us to here. This is now an item instance. Got no sound. Oh. Josh has no sound. Fair. Here, let me text Josh in Twitch chat. You can enjoy watching your suffering, watching me figure out the architecture. occurring in silence. Let me get back here. Yeah. All right. If we trace this all the way back up, the item manager component this is getting deep here, because I have it in the inventory. Like there's almost like two separate like items here, right? Like we have the inventory item instance, which is, it's dynamic, it's an instance, and the item instance is sort of a lie because it's not an instance, it's a reference to like a static asset. So that's fun. So I need to figure out the architecture of how to reference the inventory item instance within the item instance, I think. Maybe this is already done. Because this then calls this. Which is this, which then runs this. And this has to run here, because this is the actual, well, I suppose the instance of it is created at runtime when the player equips the weapon. Right, so we sort of dynamically create that instance. Because so when the player equips their inventory item definition, which is an instance which we like created ages ago and actually has the data that we need in it, it then spawns an instance of the weapon instance. Take a shot every time I say instance. It creates an instance of the weapon instance, which maybe shouldn't be called the weapon instance, which is what spawns the modifications and stuff, the visual ones at least, because that's the part that exists on the client, as far as to the best of my understanding. Yeah, Josh, that's for you, because you can hear us. He's gonna watch this back and he's gonna kill me. Oh well. Death is a preferable alternative to having to unravel this, I suppose. Okay. Let's find usages. This is the only usage. Let's find usages. This is the only usage. Let's find usages. That goes up to the item instance. I thought I heard like microphone noises. I think it's just the music. But I was very scared. Oh no, it's me frickin' touching the pop filter with my mask. Okay. I'm tripping out. But yeah, if I search for references to Warbound item instance, and we look for references to Warbound item instance, in like Warbound Warbound quickbar component, equipped item. See, this is where I like having an LLM in a like a code base, because I can just ask like, where are these connected, instead of doing like going through like 50 instances manually. So yeah, these are all the function definitions. This is where we're creating it. Yeah, so this is this add entry in the item manager component. Let's see if I find usages of this. Yeah, this is the equip item function. And I would be lying if I said I wasn't getting slightly lost. Okay, I think the smartest use of time here is probably to bother Josh about this, because he understands the architecture better than I do. I think nonetheless we've made some progress today. I'll have to look at this, and then next stream we'll go through the implementation, like, specifically. Because for context, a lot of the like slower progress on my end for the streams has been because of work on the website. The website, which is coming in like an hour or two, although it may take a little bit longer for it to show up on, you know, your client. Like, I know my DNS or the DNS of my internet service provider is pretty terrible. When I'm working on these sites, I have to use a VPN for like the first day, because the VPN DNS is just so much better. Yeah, thanks, Josh. Very cool. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and launch the new website, which I'm very excited about, and keep your eyes peeled for a new devlog, which is coming in the next couple hours. We'll see. The project manager was supposed to write it. I'm about to go find out if it's been written or not. So high stakes. But either way, we'll get that written by the end of today. And you'll be able to read in a lovely textual format on a beautiful new website all about the progress, and as we're getting closer to playtesting and allowing people to actually play the game, which is very exciting. I think we're up to update 18 or 19 of like the actual internal build, which is cool. And yeah, looking forward to sharing some more of that in the new devlog. So keep your eyes peeled. We'll obviously announce it, and we're going to be putting slightly more textual devlogs in Discord now. We, for a while, have just sort of dumped, the link for the new devlog, but we're going to sort of go into a little bit more detail, and of course the new site, and that has a few more types of announcement and type of like news. So very excited for you to see that. On that bombshell, thank you for joining me today for this slightly shortened Devstream. And we'll be back next week. I don't yet know whether Saturday or Sunday. I've started running more seriously on Saturday mornings, and so it's sort of pushed my schedule. So we'll see if I push to Sundays. But yeah, thanks so much for sticking with me through that deep dive into Warbound's sometimes slightly complex architecture. And I look forward to catching you all, maybe not this time, maybe a week and a day from now, but in roughly a week. And keep your eyes out for the devlog, keep your eyes out for the new website. Let us know what you think. Join the Discord. I'd love to hear all your thoughts and ideas. And yeah, I think that's about it from me. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend. I will catch you next week. See ya.